something. I think we're made of something.
Math major here. Well, I could not have done that without you, probably. You found it! Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing wall. Oh man. Gasping to catch his breath, he looked around. I suppose he probably would have been drowning all the time we took. He was in a narrow hallway. The water that had followed him out of the room was rapidly pouring out of the door. It flowed quickly down the hallway and slammed into the foot of the short flight of stairs. Just 5 steps, in fact. And at the top of the short staircase, a door? Another door? Junpei leaped up the stairs straight for the door. The door burst open and Junpei exploded out of it, only to freeze in his tracks. What other possible response could there have been to what he saw? What the hell? His voice trailed off, and all he could do was stare. A polished floor stretched out before him, ornate staircase rising up from the edges, each one of them I can't tell what that word is. Equidistant from the others. The stairs and pillars were solid wood, and the art Camyo? I've never even seen that word. Sorry, never even seen that word. Embellishments and decorations covered the wall and pillars. It looked like nothing so much as the entrance to a luxurious mansion from the early 1900s. Equidistant, equal distance. Oh, okay. Big words. Too much for me. Big words. Okay. Junpei couldn't help but wonder. Was he really in a ship? The water quickly filled the hallway behind him, suggesting that yes, he was. As he looked, a fresh wave rolled out of the room he'd been in, gathering speed as it moved toward the stairs. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is totally a Wait, what the hell? A wave? Shit! I gotta get out of here! Junpei spun around, his wet shoes squeaking in protest to the polished floor, and ran toward the tremendous staircase in front of him. B-deck. As he ran, he glanced quickly at the plates mounted on the wall, denoting the decks of the ship. He took the stairs 2 at a time, not entirely sure where he would find himself, just as he began to wonder where in fact the stairs did lead. Junpei saw other person out of the corner of his eye. Now I'm not wrong in assuming that's definitely supposed to say people. Saw other people. Oh, saw another. Not saw other. Just kidding. No, just kidding. Saw another person out of the corner of his eye. The game music is so weird. I know, it's like techno-y, creepy almost, and then it's like back to techno-y. It kind of, like, the way it goes, it kind of makes you like think that things are more urgent than they're supposed to be, or than they are. He stopped short, nearly tripping over the next stair, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing to the left of the stairs, there were 4 people staring at him. And on the right side, 3 more. All told, there were 7 of them. It looked as though... Oh man, that is killing my head. It looked as though they had been on their way down the stairs. They'd stopped short when they saw Junpei with their eyes wide. Wait, is that guy blind? Everyone else has had their eyes like wide open. This guy is like holding her shoulder with closed eyes. Did he get out of a room like we were in with being blind? He'd done the same, of course, and now they stood there staring at one another. Junpei didn't move, 1 foot placed awkwardly on the next step in the middle of his stride. Who were these people? This entire interaction lasted only a matter of seconds. That guy's gonna be OP. Exactly, that's my thoughts exactly. Like, if he's blind and he got out of a room like we were, then I want that guy on my team. Because if he's that smart and can do that much, then we got this in the bag. We won the game. The woman spoke to Junpei, and time began to move again. I guess there's another one of us now. The woman was dressed, Junpei thought. The woman was dressed, Junpei thought, rather like a dancer. Her clothes covered very little, and her prodigious jewelry little more. Oh geez. Did you see that? Did you see that movement at the top screen? You just... Hey you, come on. Hurry! With no further ceremony, she ran straight past Junpei and toward the doors behind him. The sudden proximity of a woman with such striking assets left Junpei momentarily stunned. But the others wasted no time and quickly followed the strange woman. The first to pass Junpei was a young man with silver hair. Bro, he looks so cool! He threw a quick glance at Junpei's direction as he ran, muttering, "One of us, huh?" Following him was an older man, his face calm and without fear. Soft wrinkles sprouted from his eyes, and he came close enough as he passed for Junpei to see wisps of gray in his hair. His composure and shock of hair struck Junpei as rather like that of an elderly lion. I bet you Junpei is really sensitive. Can't even read the key cards. I bet you that at some point we're gonna blame this guy for something, and he's not gonna do it. It's not gonna be his fault, whatever it is. But it's just gonna be because he's so big and calm and almost scary. Going up won't do you any good. There are 2 doors, but neither of them will open. Don't look at her! The next to speak was a girl with pink hair and a high voice. Come on! I can't do a high voice. I'll tear the microphone in half. Aren't you coming? You gotta hurry! Her small hand was wrapped around the wrist of another man, who was a blind guy. His eyes were closed, almost as though he were sleeping. His features were graceful, almost serene, and he was dressed rather elegantly for someone his age. Something about his posture seemed very refined, and Junpei couldn't help but feeling he was noble and dignified somehow. He'd certainly never seen one, but this man seemed like what Junpei had always imagined a prince would be. That's 9 of us then. All of the cards in hand. What does all of the cards in hand mean? He wondered. Junpei opened his mouth to ask what the other man had meant, but the girl with pink hair had rushed past him, and they were gone. He's just napping, resting his eyes. He's like Brock, you know, just wanting to touch a female or something. He turned just in time to see 2 more people running toward him. Yo, correction. What I said about the lion guy is going to be about this guy. One of them had hair like a bird's nest. He looked as though a stiff breeze might topple him. And the other was a veritable mountain of a man. The scrawny one said nothing and scuttled past Junpei as though he were running from something. Hey, what the hell are you just standing there for? Didn't you hear him? The doors on A deck are no good. We gotta catch the doors on B deck. Got it? Now go! Before he had a chance to respond, the man laid a massive hand on Junpei's shoulder. With no more effect than Junpei would have used to brush aside a fly, the man shoved him out of the way. Whoa! Thrown off balance by the man and recent events, it took Junpei a few steps to get his bearings. He finally regained his balance and looked up at what the other 7 had been running toward. There were 2 pairs of large iron doors set in the wall in front of him. They looked quite sturdy, and each had handles jutting out. Junpei needs to stop labeling these people. I'm so offended. Triggered! Triggered! Written across the surface of each door in red paint was a number. The door on the right had a 4, and the door on the left had a 5. They're the same. The guy Junpei had decided to call Silver was mumbling to himself. The room I woke up in had a number on the door, just like that. You two, eh? With an arched eyebrow, the lion looked over at Silver. My cell was the same. A number upon the door. It opened. I opened it, ran down the hallway outside, and found myself in a rather grand room, full of stairs, as I suspected the rest of you. It was as though the floodgates had been opened. They all began to talk at once. Me too. I did too. Yeah, a door with a number on it. It soon became clear that each one of them had awoken in a room with a locked door and solved a puzzle to escape. They all ended up in the same room, almost as though they'd been guided there. Yes, we all saw the same thing. That's not important. We need to hurry. Yeah, You think I don't know that lady? Before the dancer had time to finish, Silver was already running. He grabbed hold of the door level 5 and pulled. However, fuck! It's not opening. This damn thing won't even budge. Move. You're in the way. The mountain grappled Silver's shoulder and tossed him aside. His path cleared, he took a few steps back and then threw himself at the door. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. The door shook as his body slammed into it, but showed no signs of breaking or opening. The mountain threw himself at the door again. Junpei turned toward door 4. Next to the door on the wall was a small box. It looked just like the one that he'd seen in his room next to the door. If it was the same, then this door was likely locked as well. Still, he had to check. Junpei grappled a handle and threw all of his weight into it. It was locked, as tight as the door next to it, as he'd suspected. Damn it! Junpei punched the door. It did not respond. You better stay silent. Were these the only doors, he wondered? He'd barely finished the thought when the C-deck plate he'd passed on his way sprang up unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back toward the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs, next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. Oh geez, she's a cutie pie. Oh geez, we have the love interest. It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty, or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Does he know her? Junpei had seen her somewhere before. He couldn't quite remember where, but he knew. He knew he'd met her before. Bruh. Love interest is booby girl. I'm shocked. Love interest isn't booby girl. Oh, goodness. Okay. Actually, let me take a second and plug up my phone. Okay, there we go. And take a drink of water because my mouth is dry. Okay. He knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, stared at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him before as well. Without saying a word, Junpei walked slowly toward her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was held in place by some sort of magic spell. As Junpei stepped onto her landing, Junpei stepping on her landing. The spell broke. No sooner had he set his foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. Ah! The quake caught the girl. Oh, he's gonna catch her, isn't he? And she fell. Moving on instinct, Junpei leaped to catch her. Or so he thought. Oh, does he miss? Oh. Her face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own. He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. He's on her landing. He's on her landing. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. For a moment, that seemed to stretch for a very long time. They stared at one another. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. Water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, lapping faintly at walls and ceilings, but eventually that faded as well. The silence was complete, a thick, muffled blanket. At last, the girl opened her mouth. Oh my gosh, is that you, Junpei? Yo, we already got a nickname? Ooh, who is this girl? Junpei. Her words echoed through Junpei's head, and suddenly his memory returned. Akane? Writer love adverbs. Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kurashiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They'd gone to elementary school together for 6 years. Or is that an 8? I think there's a 6. I can't tell. But what was she doing on the ship? Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. He could feel the warmth of her face. Feelings he'd thought long forgotten began to work their way to the surface. He could feel his face heating up. At that moment, a speaker crackled to life, and a cold, eerie voice filled the room. It's Japanese, so Akane. Yeah, I figured it out after seeing the whole name. It was easy to figure out, but just the first name, I was confuzzled. Welcome aboard. I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this my vessel. With the voice, ooh, I got chills. Ooh, hang on. Ooh. With the voice's invasion, the spell between Junpei and Akane was broken, and all hints of Burgoing? These are some big words I'm not used to. I was never good at English to begin with. Sorry, I apologize. Burgoing romance instantly forgotten. They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another. They hurriedly, geez Louise, and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last they found it. A speaker set in the ceiling. I am Zero, a captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here. The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by the crackling static, but Junpei recognized it. How could he have forgotten it? It was the same voice he had heard from the man in the gas mask. Hey, asshole! What the hell is this? Come on out here. I want to get a look at you. What do you mean? What do you mean to do with us? To us? I mean to have you participate in a game. Some of you I know are familiar with this game. The Nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line. Nonary game? What the hell is that? The voice continued, implacable. The rules of the Nonary game can be found upon your persons. They are simple rules. Read them. Nonary game? Hey, there's something in my pocket. Check this out. Silver reached in his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. So we haven't checked our pockets yet? That would have been like the first thing I did. Means starting to grow. Oh, okay. I'm glad you're here, because I could not play this game without you. I would not know half the things that are going on right now. But, yeah, time out. Well, we haven't checked our pockets? Really? Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt the telltale crumble of paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal. Hey, I got one too. Then it would seem Zero has seen fit to grace us each with a letter. Would you mind terribly reading it to us, young man? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short moment of surprise, did as he had been asked. I like puzzles. Also, I'm very fast at the Google. On this ship, you will find a handful of doors, emblazoned with numbers. We will call them numbered doors. The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to opening these doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers of your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. So this entire game is going to be digital roots, or is that just like the first portion? Only those who have opened the door may pass through. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Bracelet. Junpei figured had to meant the bulky thing on his wrist. He glanced at it. It looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to much the same conclusion. But I knew most of these things anyway. I like to double check. Well, again, I am glad you are here. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave the ship alive. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker crackled to life once more. There is one last thing I must tell you. As you have no doubt surmised, this ship has begun to sink. On April 14th, 1912, the famous ocean liner Titanic crashed into an iceberg. After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time. 9 hours. That is the time you will be given to make your escape. The voice finished, and the speaker went silent. The sound of a bell tolling echoed through the hall. Yo, if we actually have to get timed on this thing, jeez, we're not gonna make it. It came from the dance hall adjacent to the stairwell. I said stairwell. It took those assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. 7, 8, 9. It rang 9 times. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came. That meant the time was 9 o'clock. Most likely 9 o'clock in the evening. When Junpei had peered out of the window of his cell, he had seen nothing but blackness. It had to be nighttime. Or it could have been, just a lot of ocean, because there was water coming in through the window. Could be that too. Let's do door 4. We might have to. I don't know. If that was the case, then they would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day. Now it's time. Let our game begin. I wish you all the best of luck. Meep. The speaker went silent and did not speak again. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the nonary game? Why had he been chosen to make them part of it? Why had he chosen to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims? Or did he have some other purpose? And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? But one question was foremost on his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen one another since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No, that seems impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? Get moving? Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hey, wait! Don't tell me you're actually going to do what this zero says. No, that's not what I mean. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I'm saying let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. Wait, what?